Right. I want to highlight the ground game and how partnering with grassroots organizations is a powerful strategy to drive systemic change for education, policing, voting rights, pretty much everything. Founded in 1999, the Advancement Project is a racial justice organization working on projects ranging from voter protection to disrupting the school-to-prison pipeline. Over the past couple of years, they've done research on voting rights that's become a part of the congressional record to support the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Now, that's what I call having receipts. This research is crucial in order to fight Republicans' push to limit voting rights for black and brown people, especially after the Supreme Court's decision to remand a constitutional challenge to Arizona voting laws that banned third-party ballot collection and invalidated ballots cast in the wrong precinct. Joining me to discuss is civil rights lawyer Judith Browne Dianis. She is the executive director of Advancement Project. Good evening, and thank you so much for being here on Amplified.
Thank you for having me. So good to see you.
You are doing the most. You have a number of big picture items that you're working on, from educational equity to race counts program. And I'm just so interested in, one, tell us just a little bit about your racial justice work, especially how, as a national organization, you're really trying to work with grassroots organizations to mobilize around these issues.
Sure. Well, Advancement Project is really grounded in the idea that we have to build power in communities of color in order to end structural racism. We were started because we knew that there was a point in time, and we're in this moment again, where the courts were moving to the right. And we were losing a lot of our civil rights gains. And in fact, not only losing, but they were rolling back the gains and rolling back the hands of time. And so we knew we had to get back to what was right about the civil rights movement, was that organizing was centered. And that what we would do as lawyers would be to support the efforts on the ground. And so that's what we do across the country. We are helping grassroots folks hold systems accountable, hold election officials accountable. And then we also work at the national level to push Congress to do the right thing so that our communities can thrive.
The bottom up and the top down approach all work so well, consistently together. And I came to learn that, honestly, I got to do a little work alongside of Advancement Project several years ago when I was at the Center for American Progress as a senior fellow. I was doing work around school to prison pipeline. And that's when I really got connected to the work that you all were doing to try to dismantle school to prison pipeline. We were looking especially at black girls who were being thrown in jails and coming into contact with the system at disproportionate rates, as well as the queer kids. And what really struck me about your organization's approach is that I remember that you are so connected to the ground and stories about real people's lives that are impacted by policy, which is something that when you're in like a Washington think tank like I was, it's a little bit harder to really feel and to touch. And so, just share with us just kind of your experience doing the work that you do to get to the White House and get those conversations to permeate on Capitol Hill, but doing it in a way that you're able to bring real people's lived experience from communities into a bigger conversation. I'm interested in how that kind of looks and feels for you and what some of the successes are.
Sure. Well, I mean, it is that working on the ground, right, is about engaging people in their own destiny, right, and thinking about the systems that they want that will work for them. So if it's school to prison pipeline, we actually work with like teenagers across the country, and we have been successful not only in decreasing suspensions of black students in many school districts, but also now we have a police-free schools movement. And we're working with, again, organizations throughout the country. And the way that this has worked, Aisha, is that, as we do this work, we start to bring these groups together and then to push on the federal level. So our work on the school to prison pipeline actually ended up going to the White House when President Obama was there, and he and the Attorney General Holder put in place, and Arne Duncan put in place guidance on discrimination in school discipline. If we look at other issues, for example, we worked on policing issues, and we were working with the protesters after Ferguson protesters who were in Florida and other places, and we were supporting them in pushing for change on the ground. And what happened as a result was the same kind of thing, that President Obama wanted to have a meeting with the protesters after Eric Garner was killed and after Mike Brown were killed, and we arranged a meeting for President Obama with the protesters. But that, again, is because
Wow.
folks on the ground are stepping into their power, and then we're helping them connect the dots to the federal level.
That's all this is about, stepping into our power. And we don't even always win, but the opportunities to do that, are endless, right? And that's one of the things
Right.
that I want people who are watching Amplified to know and connect with. I started off with your introduction, Judy, reminding people, too, that you are a civil rights attorney, I guess, by training, right? And that some of the work that you're doing at Advancement Project also is about filing lawsuits against really horrific laws. So tell us about the lawsuit that you filed to block Georgia's voting law, with the strict new voter ID requirements, limiting drop boxes, and the thing that is most, to me, nefarious is giving power essentially over the elections to the state legislature, which is its own hot mess. But yeah, what are you guys doing around that?
Yeah, so again, I mean, we are connected to folks on the ground. So we don't just come in and file litigation, but we're working with people who want change and who are going to push for change beyond the litigation. So we filed a case in Georgia against SB 202, and we represent Black churches who have been pushing their congregations to go out and vote, and who are on the front lines trying to make sure that communities have all the information they need to go vote. And so we represent them, and we're challenging every part of that law. The same in Florida. We have a lawsuit against the bill there. And so that litigation is going to go forward. But at the same time, what we're doing is we're engaging those congregations so that people understand not only the laws that were passed, but what's at stake, so that when the legislatures come back into session, that we're going to fight back, and we're going to fight back with everybody, with an all hands on deck moment, right? And so litigation is still important, but it has to be combined with grassroots power so that we can really make the change that we need to have.
I appreciate the kind of breadth and depth of the issues that you all are working on, too, because racial justice is, there needs to be justice in everything. And so many things are issues of racial justice, which maybe we don't always think of and consider that way. One of them that is like my favorite thing to talk about, because I'm a political nerd, is partisan gerrymandering. And the fate of partisan gerrymandering could also be up for debate in the Supreme Court this term, if the justices decide to weigh in on it. And so the fear, as Vox put it, is that since some justices already endorsed the view that state legislatures should have broad and potentially unchecked authority to determine how federal elections are conducted in their state, there is a tremendous risk that the court will now give Republican state legislatures expanded authority to draw gerrymandered congressional maps. This whole thing, we're going to actually do like a whole half a show on this soon, but your group is working to monitor the entire redistricting process. So please paint the picture for us of what that looks like and how this partisan gerrymandering is a nasty threat that is a racial justice issue.
Yeah, well, first of all, gerrymandering, I like to break it down, because gerrymandering basically means the manipulation of political lines for gain. It could be for political gain of one party, or it could be because of racism, right? And that's what we've seen over the history of this country, is the manipulation of lines so that Black folks and brown folks don't have power. And so where we are right now is that this is a power grab moment, right? And that is because the rising majority of Black and brown people threaten the existing power structures that are still held by white folks. And so in many states, we still have Republican legislatures that are going to make sure that they keep their power. And so we're engaging with communities to make sure that we fight back. But also, Aisha, that what is really important is the Freedom to Vote Act. Because the Freedom to Vote Act that has to be passed by Congress is in the Senate, and we're waiting for it to be introduced, and we're waiting for a vote on it, will get rid of partisan gerrymandering, because we know that, these Republicans, they're not playing around. And they are targeting Black communities to take our power away. And so that's one thing I want to make sure folks understand, is that we have got to push on the Senate to pass the Freedom to Vote Act so that we can do away with gerrymandering, so that we can protect the vote, to make sure we have national standards, so that we can make sure that we restore the voting rights of people with felony convictions. So all of that is in that bill, along with campaign finance. And so that's the way we're going to get a fix, but we have to get it passed. And if that requires modifying the filibuster, we have to make sure that happens too.
Judith Browne Dianis, thank you so much for the work that you are doing. All of these things are still moving, right? We got lawsuits, we're waiting on legislation. So I would love to have you back with the status update on some of this stuff. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.